Being James Bond may make you bulletproof, but it doesn't make you invincible. Welcome to Watch Mojo UK, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 what the f*** roles by James Bond actors. Before we begin, if you enjoy this video, please subscribe for more great content. For this list, we're looking at those weird and surprising performances tucked away in the back catalogue of famed James Bond actors, be it before or after they played the role of the super spy 007. Number 10, Daniel Craig as Captain Schiller, The Adventures of Young Indiana Jones, Daredevils of the Desert.
It is merely a diversion to make us think they are here in force.
Remember The Adventures of Young Indiana Jones? Okay, most people don't, but it did serve up one of Daniel Craig's earliest performances as German baddie Schiller in Daredevils of the Desert. Together with his suspicious tash, knee-high boots, and dodgy accent, he's described as a most unpleasant man, but his character is more dick-dastardly than devilish, making cheesy Bond baddies from the 60s and 70s look terrifying. You can't help but feel Craig is massively underutilized in this one. I mean, compare this to this. Number 9, Timothy Dalton as Damien Drake. Looney Tunes back in action.
You know, your father can get you the job anytime he wants to.
Some people say James Bond really is the only thing Timothy Dalton has ever done, which is harsh. However, his role as an actor turned secret agent in this Looney Tunes film doesn't help his case. It's weird, over the top, and kinda takes the mick out of him.
How was the interrogation going?
He's had a successful stint as Mr. Pricklepants in Toy Story 3.
Excuse me, I'm trying to stay in character.
But this one's a bit too silly and self-deprecating and screams quick payout. At least he got Steve Martin to bounce off. Whatever that means.
Checkmate, Mr. Chairman. You're going down.
Number 8, Sean Connery as Juan Sanchez, VillaLobos Ramirez. Highlander 2, The Quickening.
Who is he? Show him to us.
Let him show himself.
Connery's portrayal of the clearly Scottish Egyptian in 1986's Highlander received a fair bit of criticism, and his portrayal as the same character in the sequel is no different. He's got long hair, a goatee, he gatecrashes Shakespearean plays, and given the opportunity, overacts whenever possible.
Will we be together?
Well, not at first, but we are joined in a way that can never be broken.
It's like plonking a rubbish comic book character in a dark action movie. It's not gracious, convincing, or engaging. The role itself is a bit crazy, and we can't imagine it working in any way, shape, or form. Except if it were played by Johnny Depp, maybe.
Whatever you gentlemen felt for each other when your friend was still alive is certainly none of my affair. Number
7, George Lazenby as Joseph Stoner, The Shrine of Ultimate Bliss. His portrayal of Bond may not have been very popular with fans, but did you know George Lazenby has a kung fu past? Starring in a few martial arts based films, including Death Dimension, Bruce Lee's The Game of Death, and today's pick, The Shrine of Ultimate Bliss, Lazenby is surprisingly well adept to the world of combat cinema. Even with a Tom Selleck-esque mustache. This film would have starred Bruce Lee if not for his death a year before, but fair dues to Lazenby, he does a pretty good job. Number 6, Pierce Brosnan as Professor Donald Kessler, Mars Attacks.
What do we know about them?
We know they're extremely advanced technologically, which suggests, very rightfully so, that they're peaceful.
Being cast in a Tim Burton film, you can expect your character development to be a little unusual, like how about getting your head cut off and having it examined by aliens? Well, that's exactly what happened to Brosnan in this all-star science fiction comedy. A pipe-smoking professor who aims to tap into the psyche of an alien race, he is captured and spends a good chunk of the film hanging out dry, with canine Sarah Jessica Parker as company. It's completely ridiculous, but brilliant nonetheless.
Goodbye, my darling. I wish things could have been different.
So do I.
Number 5, Sean Connery as Zed, Zardoz.
The gun is good.
The gun is
good. The penis is evil.
Looking for footage of Connery with a ponytail wearing a freaky nappy-like lederhosen? Oh, you weren't? Well, here it is anyway, thanks to the 1974 film Zardoz. This film is nuts. It ultimately tells of a hero called Zed who liberates a brainwashed society while sporting a revealing wardrobe.
Vortex 9. Surplus, soap, apples, leather. Needs, oats, barley, carrots.
It's like The Wicker Man meets The Wizard of Oz, and as great as that sounds, it just comes across as a film desperate to achieve shock factor at every turn. And to think this was just 3 years after Connery's Bond heyday.
He's a fine, strong beast, dear May. What exactly do you want to do with him?
Number 4, Daniel Craig as Master Kane, a kid in King Arthur's court.
Who's faced the full fury of the Black Knight is afraid of a dummy.
Playing out like a textbook Saturday morning kids film, this medieval blunder sees a kid travel back through time to meet Arthur and Merlin. Oh yeah, and Daniel Craig. Craig plays the ever-ambitious teacher to our young knight, equipped with a dictionary of ye olde English quotes and a mushroom top.
No way, you're the best. If thou art trying to get on my good side, thou hast succeeded with royal colours.
The dialogue is wooden, the action sucks, and overall it feels like you're watching a local amateur stage production of a satirical Shakespearean play.
No matter how we feel, our lives are not our own.
Well, then we will make them our own.
At least thou gets to see some cracking special effects. Number 3, Pierce Brosnan as Sam Carmichael. Mamma mia!
And not too old for sex.
Musicals, they suit some, but not all actors. As for Pierce Brosnan, well, it's not necessarily his singing that caught our eye here, although it is, interesting. It's more the dramatic turns towards the camera, spreading himself across open doorways, and belting out lyrics whilst dramatically leaning against walls.
So when you're near me, darling, can't you hear me? SOS.
Brosnan has proved that he can do action and drama pretty well, which is what makes this musical endeavour rather hard to watch.
Where are those happy days? They seem so hard to find.
They're back when you played Bond, Pierce. Number 2, Sean Connery as Sir August de Winter, The Avengers.
A perfect dress rehearsal.
In a not so well received adaptation of the classic Avengers TV series, Connery plays a mad scientist hell-bent on controlling the weather. Take your pick on this one. Overacted monologues, god-awful one-liners, and an army of teddy bear henchmen, it's a performance best described as colourful. Playing a villain doesn't seem to suit Connery because somehow, even when he's threatening the film's protagonist, it just comes across as laughable. Shame with Uma Thurman and Ralph Fiennes, this should have been a decent film.
I know nothing. I have forgotten more than those fools at the ministry ever knew.
Number 1, Roger Moore as Lloyd Faversham, Boat Trip.
Midnight skinny dipping.
Sign me up!
And if you're into it, lots of sex, sex, sex.
You didn't think we were going to forget the late great Roger Moore, did you? Claiming our top spot today is a perfect example of a first-class actor not taking himself too seriously. As promiscuous Lloyd aboard a homosexual cruise, he stalks a couple of guys who end up there by mistake.
Do you care for a bite of my sausage?
From sexual innuendos to filleting sausages, Moore is absolutely hilarious in this role and doesn't pull any punches. If anything, his history of playing womanizer Bond is what makes this work so gloriously.
You know, from the moment we met, I felt there was an electrical charge between us.
I think your pacemaker's shorting out.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from Watch Mojo UK and subscribe for more great content.